All right. So we are looking at PHP. We are starting with PHP. Is on record. Is on record. So what is PHP? The first thing we are going to do, we are looking at the introduction to PHP. So we are going to give this one intro to what? Intro dot PHP. Intro dot what? Dot PHP. Please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we cannot see us.
You cannot see my
Have
screen.
you started sharing? You cannot see my screen. Have you started sharing the screen?
Yes. Can you see a black
Yes. Can
screen?
you see no, a black screen? Okay, okay, okay. Yes, we can see. I can see it now.
All right. Now,
All right. Now,
please mute your mic. Okay. Now we have this is a PHP document. Okay. Now you can see that by this side I'm saying intro.php. .php is actually the extension. Okay. Every programming language has every programming language has their extension. Okay. For example, now I was so you guys did HTML. When you are doing HTML, you should know that the person was putting what .html. So that's to tell the interpreter that the programming language that the person is using is actually HTML. But since we are writing PHP code right now, the interpreter should be what PHP. So what is the meaning of what PHP? What is what PHP? PHP is an acronym. It's an acronym that means um, hypertext preprocessor. Is the name did not follow how it is being called. Hypertext preprocessor. So why is it hypertext preprocessor? It is called hypertext preprocessor because it's a server-side language. What do I call it? I said it's a server-side what? Language. So what we mean server-side language is a language of the backend. All right, you write it to interact with a database, to store information inside a database. Okay, so that's what PHP is. Now, since it's a server-side language, it means that it needs a server to what to run to work. Without a server, your PHP cannot work. Now, first thing first, if you are writing a program, if you are writing your code, you need an IDE. So the tools that you need, the tools that are needed, your tools needed. So you need you need what we call IDE. IDE means integrated development environment. Some people will call it setup. All right. Some people will call it editor. So wherever they are calling it, it is still called what IDE. So what is IDE? IDE will enable you to write your code. A good example of IDE is your Visual Studio Code. And this environment, this black environment they are seeing on my screen right now, is actually a Visual Studio Code what environment, which is an IDE. All right. It is not only Visual Studio we have as an IDE. We have something like Sublime Text. We have something like Actom. We have something like Notepad++. All right. We have something like Elementor, Elements. Okay. We have something like PHP Storm. All of these are IDE. What it does is for you to write your code. Okay, is for you to write your code. That's what one thing that you need. Another thing that you need a browser. You need a browser. I want to believe your former instructor should have told you that you need a browser. All right, a good example of your browser is your Chrome browser, your Microsoft Edge browser, your Mozilla Firefox browser, your what they call it, Opera Mini browser, UC browser. Why are you using a browser? A browser is a software that interprets a programming words language. Should I come again? A browser is a software that interprets a programming words language. Remember, we said the programming language include PHP, JavaScript, Python, we have something like C++, C Sharp, and etc. So IDEs, a browser will help you to interpret your code. Okay, especially when you are dealing with a web application, you need a browser for you to work. Now when you are dealing with a server-side application like PHP, you will need another thing, which is called the what is called the third guy. There is the what is the server. All right, the third person you need for something like a PHP programming language, you will need a server. What name is a server? Basically there are two kind of a server. All right, if I'm too fast, let me know. There are two kind of a server. We have the local server and the cloud server. Okay, your local server is a server that helps you to write your codes, to interpret your codes. For example, something like a PHP. Now you need a local server to see what you are doing, and when you are done what you are doing, you take them to what, to the production, which we call the live what, which we call the live server. All right, so for a local server, basically there are two types of a local server that we have. There are two types of local words server that we have, that we are going to be using right now. The first kind of a server that you'll be think of is we have something like XAMPP. All right, we have something like XAMPP. You must have heard about it. All right, XAMPP, the X in XAMPP means what? Linux. All right, the X in XAMPP means what? Linux. The A in XAMPP means what? Apache. The M in XAMPP means what? MySQL. The P in XAMPP means Perl, while the other P in XAMPP can be what? PHP. Are you getting it? So how is XAMPP? What is the essence of XAMPP for something like a PHP programming language? Number one, the the A, which is the Apache, the Apache, which is A is what is Apache. The Apache is actually the server. Okay, the Apache is actually what is actually the server that your programming language is interacting with. Why M means what? MySQL. We all know that MySQL, for those of us that we have done one or two coding, MySQL is actually a database. All right, MySQL is what is actually a database software. MySQL, so it's actually a database or software which work with the SQL. What is the meaning of SQL? SQL is a structured query what language. All right, so MySQL is a database in your XAMPP. Then this other P is called what? Perl. Perl is also a programming what language. Those of us, Perl is a programming language for server. We also have something like PHP, which we are looking at right now. PHP is another server programming language. So another kind of server that we have is what? The WAMP. We have something called what? WAMP. What is the full meaning of WAMP? WAMP is a Windows operating system. It means that it's a Windows or server. So the W in WAMP means what? Windows. The A means what? Apache. The M means what? MySQL. Why this P can be PHP or what? Or Perl, which is the programming language that you are using to interact with it. Are we okay? Are we together? Which is the programming language that you are using to what? To interact with your what? Your environment. Now this this WAMP was now further divided into, sometimes you'll be seeing something called easy words, easy PHP. Easy PHP is another local server. All right, but this local server is coming from what? From WAMP. So it's a WAMP word. It's actually what? A WAMP word server also. They just break it down. For the purpose of this class, the local server that we'll be using XAMPP. We'll be using XAMPP as our local server, because when you install XAMPP, PHP will be installed automatically into your what? Into your system. So how do you now install your what? Install your XAMPP. Okay, if you can see my screen, you can go to your Google. I want to know, is anybody that is coding along with me here, that is working along with me here, so that we know how I'm going to take the paste? Are you doing what I'm doing? Hello, please unmute your mic and speak out. Are you doing what I'm doing, or I should go ahead? Are you doing what I'm doing, or I should go ahead? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you just raise your hand? If you can hear me, raise your hand.
We are here, you sir.
All right, thank you so much, thank you so much. So let me continue. Should I continue? Is anybody coding along with me, or I should just continue like that? All right, let's continue. So the first thing we do, for you to install your XAMPP, you can go to Google and say download what? Download XAMPP. So I'm going to drop the link for this their site. You can see this should be their official website. They don't have one particular website that they make use of. That's why I have to go to Google and click on download XAMPP. So wherever it's going to download it, I will drop it there. So Apache XAMPP installer, XAMPP free latest word version. Let me see what this one's going to show. So you can download XAMPP from here. You can download XAMPP from here. Just click on download. So I will drop the link on your WhatsApp platform for those of us that we are walking along. So from the link I dropped there, I've dropped it on the platform. Just click on download. So when you click on download, it's going to be downloaded on your system. You can see that the version of XAMPP that is coming to your system now is PHP with 8.2. All right. The latest version of PHP now is 8.2. Okay. So that is the latest version of PHP that you are using. So immediately this thing is downloaded, you can see that it's downloading on my system now. All right. You now go to your download. If you go to my download now, you will see there. All right. You will see what I just downloaded now. You can see this is what I just downloaded with 8.2.12. So what you do is just double click on it, all right, and install it just like the way you install normal words, normal software. Is that okay? But I'm not going to install this on my system now because I already have it running on my words on my system. So for those of us that would like to install it, just click on what? On yes. All right. So let's continue, please. Now, when you have installed the XAMPP on your operating system, the next thing you will do is that you go to your drive C, which is your local disk C. You can see that this is my local disk C. So when you open your local disk C, you will see a folder on your system called what? XAMPP. All right, this is a XAMPP. So you now open this folder called XAMPP. You open it. So you open this folder called XAMPP. A lot of files are there. All right, but the only file that you need to work with, whereby you put your tools will be stored, is this htdocs. All right, htdocs is just like where your application is going to be placed for your browser to be able to see it. So you can see that these are the applications that are built in time past. These are applications: Django application, data side, database application, some of our website that I have running, VT websites. These are their files. So what you are going to do here now, we're going to create a folder called, because this is a crash course, all right, a folder called PHP crash course. This is the folder. So when you create this folder called PHP crash course, you now open this folder with your with your VS Code, of which I've already opened it here. All right. So is this folder that I created a file called what? Intro to PHP. Please, is that understood? So understand that your file should be inside your htdocs, and you create your file inside your htdoc in your XAMPP. That is the only when you can open the a PHP script. Now after you've done that, the next thing is to run your your server. How do you run your server? For something like a XAMPP, you can click on the XAMPP on your search bar. Click, just type XAMPP there. You see that XAMPP control panel. So you now click on the XAMPP control panel. So why are you having the control panel? The control panel is for you to start your your tools. You can see that I said A means Apache, M means MySQL. So, and I said that this Apache is actually the server, then this MySQL is actually your what? Your database. So this one should start. All right, this one should also start. The reason why this one should start is because possibly you are creating a database for your application. What do we call a database? A database is where people can store information, they can retrieve information, they can update their data, they can also delete their data. So that's why I keep telling students that if you know what we call CRUD, there's something called CRUD in the programming language. All right, CRUD. All right, if you are learning any programming language, always try as much as possible to target CRUD. When you know CRUD, you can build any application. What is the meaning of CRUD? The C in CRUD means create. The arrow in CRUD means what? Read. The U in CRUD means update. Why the D in CRUD means what? Delete. So look at it. Create. For example, you are building an application that people need to register themselves before they do anything. That is create. Now another thing again, you are building an application whereby you need to call record from the database for people to see it on the browser. That is what we call what? Read. That when they see something on their browser which is now on the front end, they want to change their username or they want to change their password. That's what we call what? Delete. Then let's say you don't want somebody to be in your application again, the person is constituting nuisance on your application. You now carry out what we call what? Delete. So ask yourself a question. All the applications you have outside there, Facebook, Instagram and everything, is that not what they are into? Your e-commerce website, that's what they are into. Create, read, update and what? And delete. Is that okay? Right. Now let's continue. We have created a file called intro.php. Let's start our PHP programming language. Now first thing first, if you want to start a PHP, all right, just like your HTML, we said in HTML, what you will do in HTML, you will open your words, you type your HTML, right? Because I will show you guys have done HTML. Then the next thing you do, well, you have your HTML word close, or they said you can use a boilerplate. You know why I can't use boilerplate here? Because my extension here is not actually HTML. My extension here is called what? PHP. So if I try to bring that the boilerplate, you can see this is the boilerplate of your HTML. Your doc type HTML, your HTML lang, the head region, the body word region. This is the syntax. We normally call it the structure, the boilerplate, the skeleton of HTML. If you are going for any interview or you are going for anything, you call yourself a software engineer or a software developer, if the person wants to be easy with you, the person will ask you to give him the structure of what? Of HTML. That is the person want to be easy. So if you do not know this, then you know that your village people are now disturbing you. So this is the basic thing you first of all need to know. But now we are looking at what? PHP. If you want to start a PHP, you need to have your lesser than, your question mark, then you type your word, your PHP. So wherever I'm typing, all right, sorry, question mark. So whatever I'm typing inside here is actually called PHP. Now, PHP said you can have what? Your question mark on this, but this is now optional in the latest version of PHP. Just exactly a good example, your PHP 7.1 and above, they make this guy to be optional, okay? But those of us that were using PHP 4.5, 5.0 and stuff like that, we know that this is actually what necessary for your program to work. Now the first thing is, how do you comment out a code in PHP? What is the meaning of comment? All right, let's look at what comments, because that's the first thing you need to also know also. Now PHP, we have two types of a comment. We have the single line comment and the multi-line word comment. What did I say? I said we have the single line comment and the multi-line comment. All right, now look at it. If I write a programming language, I said for a single line comment, it means that I'm using what? Hashtag. Let's say for example, you want to display your result. Let me even run this application so that we will see what is going on. I just hope this thing will, if it doesn't work, we go straight to, okay, so my Apache is already running. So the next thing you have to do, yeah, you have to click on the admin for this Apache to start running. Click on the admin. So when you click on the admin, what is the file name? The file name is php crash what course. The file name is php crash course. It should be among my file here. Look at it here. So this is actually the file that I'm working on right now. Intro to what? To PHP. So you can see that. So I like to divide my screen to two so that you'll be seeing my code, the result of my code, and you'll be seeing my what? My code. So look at it. If I write a program, I said echo, all right, echo hello world, echo hello world, and I save this. All right, I refresh. So what do you observe? This is my browser. Hello. All right, this is my browser. Okay, this is my browser. Now this echo hello world was a way of printing out. This is a print statement in PHP to bring out wherever you have inside your code on the what on the browser. So when I said echo hello world, you can see it is on my browser. Or if I turn this and I say echo hello PHP and I save it, you will see it on my browser. If I refresh my browser, you will see it on my browser. So basically now, echo is actually a reserved word in PHP. So what is a reserved word? A reserved word are words that the programming language has been built in. It has been built in into the programming language. So you as a software engineer or a software developer, you are to call that particular word for you to use it for your task. All right, you to use that reserved word for your task. So for you to display results in PHP is echo. We also have print. Print still work in PHP. You can still use your print arrow. All right, if I say print arrow, let's say hi, print arrow hi, then I refresh. So it's telling me that there is an error there. So let me use print. So print arrow should be, so you can see that it's saying error, syntax error, unexpected token print. It means that print is no longer being what used. Another reason again why it's flagging error is because I did not put a colon. So anytime you are using PHP, okay, PHP is telling you you must put a colon. You can see the I that I have there now is now what showing. Okay, you can see the I is not showing. So one thing you need to take note to avoid error in your program when you are dealing with PHP, you must avoid, always put your semicolon. So let me just say break. Let me pass something here. Let me say break. Let me just put a break here, a break statement. So you can see that when I pass in a break statement inside here, it go to the word to the next line. Okay, so now the two statements that I use to display result in PHP is echo or print arrow. Print arrow can also work. Print arrow is when you are dealing with an array, of which we are going to look at them. But what I'm talking about presently, I'm talking about the echo. So basically, if you want to bring out a result in your environment, either you are using echo or you are using your print or you are using your print arrow. Print arrow is for array. The other method we use for array is called var. Var dump is also for array in PHP. These are what built-in method. But we are looking at the single line word commenting. Look at it. By the time I press my control and I press my shift /, I save this particular program and I run this. Are you seeing that line, that first line that I have here, which is echo hello world, is not showing on my browser again? It is now a comment. Now the question now is, why do we comment a code? People keep saying that when a software developer leave a company, the company will die. It is a lie. All right, when a software developer leave a company, what is expected for that software developer to do is to document his or her code. By what? By commenting it out. So when another developer is coming into the environment, the software engineer is coming into the environment, you go through what the person has documented. If you have a knowledge of what the person has written, you will know what to do from there. So that is the reason why we have comments. Another reason why we have comment again is to make your code not to be what? Executable. For example, you know I was having error just now. Let's say I was having error. I didn't put a semicolon here. I run this. And you see that I'm having error. It's telling me that I'm having a password error, syntax error, unexpected token print. Okay, it's not that that print was wrong. It's because I did not pass a semicolon here. If I want this program to escape this particular line 14 and execute line 15, I will just come here and pass in a comment. I will run my program. My program will work fine. Are we okay? So if you have a question, you can raise up your hand so that we know if you have a question. All right, but let's continue. I don't expect anybody to have question by now until we have achieved something that we are looking at. So that is how to comment out. So we have two kind of commenting. The first one is the what? We have number one, we have the single line commenting. Single line comment. Then the second one we have is what? Is a multi-line what? Multi-line what? Comment. The multi-line comment. So a good example of a single line comment is using your / twice. Is that okay by us? Are we good by that? It's using your / what? Twice. Now let's now assume that I have another print statement here. I love programming with what? PHP. I love programming. I love programming with PHP. All right. So for you to say that it's going to go to the next line, let's add a break here. Dots. Passing my BRO, my break statement. So let's see. So hi, I love programming with what? PHP. Now let's assume that I want to make this everything not to show on my browser. There's something we call multi-line commenting. So that multi-line commenting simply means you have your /, you have your what? Asterisk. All right. At this part now, you now have your what? Your asterisk. Then you now have your what? Your /. You have your asterisk. Then you now have your /. If I save this and I refresh, you will see that nothing will show on my browser again. It means that everything has been what? Has been commented out. Is that okay with commenting? Now, if that is okay with commenting, let's continue with our class. Okay. Now, I will understand the introduction, the various, the first thing to know of PHP. Let's now go to variable. So I'm going to give it a variable. I'll call it variable dot what? Variable dot PHP. I'm going to call it variable dot what? Dot PHP. Look at it. If PHP is a programming language, because we are all software engineers, we are all we want to go into software development, want to know about software programming, because you can't be a software engineer without having knowledge of programming. Now the first thing that you will be taught is to know what we call a variable. All right, to know what we call what is a variable. A variable is actually a memory location. All right, a variable is a memory memory location. That's what computer sees it. So another thing about a variable is a namespace. That's what some computer also sees it. Then another thing that a variable is unknown. A variable is unknown. Even mathematics, if you are a mathematician here, you will also agree with me that variables are also what? Unknown. All right. So if variable is unknown, a variable is a namespace. What mean is that it's a namespace or a memory location. It means that you can store item inside a variable. You can store items inside what? A variable. So what are the items that you are storing inside a variable? The item that you are storing inside a variable is what we call the variable what? Type. Is what we call the variable what? The variable type. Variable what? Type. Now the variable type is also called data type. So you may see a question that they're asking you what's the variable type and what's the data type. All right, so don't say you were not taught. Variable type, data type is the same thing. So basically in PHP, we have different kind of variable type or data type. So what I would do, I will explain it with example. That's what I like doing.
Recording is
I will
on.
explain it with example. All right. Okay. The first variable type that we have in PHP is string. Is what? Is string. All right. We have string. Then please mute your mic, please. We have integer. That person should mute his or her mic, please. You are disturbing others. We have integer. We have float. We have boolean. Or should I help you to do it? We have boolean. We have null. We have object. Who is this person now? Okay, you are disturbing us now. Ah. So let's continue. Sorry about that. So we have objects. The other one we have is called what? Resources. It's called what? Resources. Or they call it resource. So you know that I need to make my program to start working. So what I'm going to do here is this. I have to go to, or I can even do it from here, or I'll go to my Apache. I'll go to my Apache. I'll go to PHP crash course. That's the folder where I store it. Look at it here. Then I'm talking about variable now. All right. So let's begin to look at them one after the other. Before you first of all need to get a variable, you have to first of all declare. Okay, right? So let's see. Before we start, let's first of all let's all start writing PHP question mark p what PHP. Okay. So you first of all need to what to declare. So you have to do your declaration. So how do you do your declaration? Your declaration is you pass in the variable name. Declaration. So you pass your variable name. For example, in PHP, if you are defining a variable, you must please don't joke with this. You must put a dollar sign. All right. You must put a dollar sign to declare your variable. So the other thing you need to talk is now the variable name itself. So let's say I'm declaring a variable for boolean. Let's say this variable is a. Then the variable is a. I said a equals to something like Zura. Let's say this is Zura. All right. Remember, PHP said you must put your words semicolon. If you do not put your semicolon, you are going to have problem. All right. That's the first variable because we have string there. The other one we are going to declare is for integer. Let's use age to get integer. Let's say age because age is actually an integer. Now integer data type or variable types they belong to numbers, and we are declaring a number. You don't put them inside a quote. For example, if I want to declare a number, I can just type 30 here. I'll be in a very good shape. But when I declare that of Zura, you notice I put it inside a quote. So if you are declaring a string, it must be inside a quote. Okay, but let's continue so that you will see them how it's done later. So the other one that we have there is float. We have float. A float is a number variable type or a number data type, but this time around it is having what? A decimal point. Let's say my dollar sign, then I say let me use something like num. Let's say num equals to, let's say 30.55, something like this. I have something like this here. All right, 30 point this. Okay, so this one is a number but is a float. Now the next thing I'm going to come back here again is the next guy that I have in my list, which is called boo. So this is what I'm trying to bring out for you guys. This one. So let me comment it so that you see what I'm trying to do. So you can see the next one is what the boolean. So boolean is actually a data type that has to do what, either a true or a false. Let's see something. I declare a variable because we said that you must have what, you must have a dollar sign. Let's say it's male. I said his male equals to what, let's say his male is equal to something like a true. His male is what is true. You must put your code. Then the other one is what, I've omitted one, which is called the array. We are going to see array also. So the next one is what, is your null. All right, is your what, your null. How do you declare a null? Let's say somebody's salary, salary which is supposed to be number. Let's say we now pass it something here, we said null, null. Okay, we pass it something here, we said what, null. So the next one I would like to declare again is this one that we have here, which is what, the array. Let's come back to array. Let me bring it down. So the array, so array is actually something that is inside a square bracket. If I say, for example, I pass it something like this, I say colors. All right, I say colors equals to, I have a bracket like this. Are you getting it now? Then inside here I have something like red. Then I come in here, I say something like blue. Then the last one I say something like what, something like green. All right, something like green like this. All right, now you see that when all these data type that you are seeing here, all of these one that you are seeing here, there's no one that can make me accept multiple items like this. But because of this is an array, I can pass in multiple what, items. So it is also what, a variable type, or you call it what, a data type. So the next one you will also want to look at is the what, the object. But before we enter all of that, let's see how do you display this, something like this, on your browser. So I've showed you one way. I said you use what, echo. If I said echo, let's say I pass in the variable name. Let's say I said dollar sign, I think I have name there, dollar sign name, no sorry, dollar sign a. Then I pass in a dot, I give it a dot, then I said break. I said what, I said break. Break simply means if I'm going to the next line. But if I run this program the way it is like this, all right, I want to be sure if I'm not having error, I need to pass this. So one thing that made people to run away from PHP and they move to programming language like JavaScript. JavaScript makes semicolon to be optional. But in PHP, if you do not put your semicolon, you can see that you are seeing red here. It will tell you that there will be an error. Okay? It will tell you that there will be an error. So you have to always put your what? Your semicolon. So if I save this and I refresh my browser, what are you seeing? Zura is printed out on my what? On my browser. Let me zoom it so that you see what we are doing. Hope you can see it now. Zura is printed out on my browser. Zura, this is the Zura here. Okay, so let's assume that I want to show every other data type that I have here. Then I will say dot, I will pass in a break. Now somebody will ask me a question, Mr. Emmanuel, why am I writing something like HTML inside this JavaScript? All right, break is actually HTML words tag. Okay, so you can actually write HTML inside your PHP. You can write your HTML inside your PHP, okay? So whichever way you want to do, you can even write PHP inside your HTML. All right, but if you are writing PHP inside your HTML, make sure the PHP is inside this lesser than question mark your PHP, and you close it with what, with your lesser than your your lesser than, then sorry, your greater than, then your question mark. So it's going to be like this. Your is it greater than now, your question mark, then your greater than. So you must put this inside your HTML. If not, it will not work. So you can write HTML inside PHP. You can write PHP inside what, HTML. Is that okay? So take note of that. Okay, so now if I come back here now, let's say I want to echo another thing. I want to echo something like what? Age. All right, I call age here. If I save this and I refresh my browser, you will see that 30 what is printed what out. So 30 is printed out. Then how do you know what kind of data type that a variable belongs to? Let's check for this guy first. So PHP has a built-in method. What is a method? A method is a programming defined. It is already in the programming language for you to make use of it. Is there anybody that is saying something there? All right. Okay. Let's continue. A method is already in your program for you to, it's just for you to make use of it. So anytime you are seeing anything that has to do with, you are now having bracket open and close in front of it, know that it is a method. Another word for a method is a function, because we have two kind of function in programming languages. PHP is not what is not left out. We have the user defined function, we have the what the method, which is what the built-in what function. So in PHP we have what we call get type. So you can see they will bring it out for you. We have what we call get type. So get type is a method in PHP that is used to display the data type that a variable would belong. The data type that a variable will belong. So I'm going to put this code here. I'm going to cut it and pass it here so that you see something. So if I say get type, all right, you know that I have to put my semicolon. Get type, I'm looking for a, Abby. I'll pass in $a inside here. All right, so that I will now say echo get type what a. I store it, then I run it. What are you seeing? It's telling you that Zura, all right, Zura is a what? Is a string. This string that you're seeing, that it means that this person is a what? Is a string data type. Remember I said that a data type, a string data type is anything you have inside a single quote or what? Or a double quote. It means that if I come here and I turn this on to a single quote, I will still be in a very what? Good shape. If I refresh it, Zura is still what? Is still a what? A string. So get type is a method that we use to know the type that a variable what belongs to. Are we good? Now let's look at this one that I have here. This one that I have here. Get type. This one is age. This is age. This should be age. Okay. This should be what? Age. Echo get type what? Age. So what I'm going to have here is let me pass a break here so that we'll understand what's going on here. So dots. So dots in PHP is concatenation. What is concatenation? Concatenation simply means joining. You are joining two items together. PHP see dot as concatenation. You may be asked, so in PHP is concatenation, dot is concatenation, and concatenation means joining two variables together or two items together. So we use dot operator. But Python use plus. I think probably I'm going to still look at Python probably towards the last because it's a broad course. So Python use what? Plus. So programming language differs with their syntax. The syntax of a programming language is the lay rule, all right, that you follow. Like I'm speaking English. As I'm speaking English now, I did not put verb. You know that I'm having error. Or I did not put adjective where I'm supposed to put adjective. You know that I'm having error, right? So that is also applicable to a programming language. All right. So the syntax of a programming language, the dot in PHP is to concatenate, and concatenate is to what? To join two variable type or two item or data type to what? Together. So I'm going to say break. I'm going to pass my break statement here. BRO. Close this guy back so that I will have a space here. So I'm having two string. So it means that this one is a string. It means that this one is a string. then this one should be age. This one should be what? Age. If I refresh this, so you can see that this 30 that I have here, the data type that it belongs to is integer. Integers are what? Are number data type. Integers are number what? Are number data type. Like I said, that number data type is divided into floats in PHP and what? An integer. So the other one that you can see that is a float is this one here. So if I come here and I said let me duplicate this code here, so that I duplicated this code here. I say get type, I'm looking at num. So at this point here, I'm looking at what? Num. So which is the variable that I've declared up there. If I run it and I refresh my browser, you can see that it's telling me that this guy is a double what? Is a double data type. So double data type can either be, okay, it can either be a float with a decimal point. It can either be a float or double. It is double because this value is too big for, this number is too big for float to carry. So let's say I reduce it to something like, let's say 30.5. I save it, I refresh. So it is still what? Double. Okay, so inside this double data type that you are seeing here, that's where you find your what? Your float. Okay, that is what this. So any data type that is having a decimal point is either double or what? Or float. So it is double when it's still small. It is float when it is what? Big. For example, let's say I have 5, something like this, a very big number, and I refresh this. So this number can still be carried by what? By what? By double. But when it cannot be carried by double again, it becomes what? It becomes a float what? Data type. Please, is that understood? So I need somebody to unmute mic and let me know. Is it understood?
Yes, we are getting you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's continue.
All right, thank you very much. Let's continue.
Okay. Now, I will understand that the next thing that I have here is the boolean. And what I use to represent boolean here is what? Is male. Okay. I said is what? Is male. That is what I use to represent boolean. So the first thing you should agree with me is that if I want to print this thing out, if I want to print out this statement, let me take this thing up so that it will be properly arranged. If I want to print out this statement, this one should be is male, right? That is the variable name, is male. So the data type, if you run it and refresh your browser, you can see that is male. Okay, this one is still coming up. Let me comment it out. Is male is coming as what? As 1. Abi? So what PHP used to represent true is 1. So what PHP used to represent false is 0. So let's pass something here. Let's turn this on to that salary now. So this one that I have true here, let me turn it to false. So let me run it. So now you can see that when I pass this into false, it's not displaying that particular record or the data type that it belongs to. But if I come in here, is male, okay, is male, echo is male, you are not seeing it. But let's now print it, the data type that it belongs to. So this place will become what? Is male. Let's save it. Are you seeing that is a boolean? It means that this is male is a boolean. If I turn it to true, which is going to show you 1, which is going to show you 1, it means that is also what? A boolean. So basically, any data type that you pass to what? To true or false is a boolean. A boolean data type is either true or false. If you see it anywhere and they ask you what's a boolean, let them know that it's a variable type or is a data type that is either a true or what? A false. So why do we make use of boolean in programming language? We use it to check if an action exists or what or not. If an action exists, do it, which is what true. If an action does not exist, do not do it, which is what false. So we normally use it in a conditional words statement, which I cannot go here now until probably I've gotten to that word, to that stage. All right. So just know that whatever is anything that is true or false is a what, is a boolean. So another one that I declared there is the word, the null. When I said salary is equals to what, is equals to null. So if I come here, so I'm going to pass echo. What is the variable name is what is salary. That's the variable name. Okay. So if I run this now, you should know that this will show you something else. If I run this, my salary should be printed out. If I save this now and I run it, so now you are not seeing anything because this guy is declared to be null. But let's see the type that it belongs to. So this will become what, salary. This will become what, salary. So let's save it, store it. So now I'm having a big fat error because I did not close this what, this bracket here. That's why I'm having that error. Okay. So you can see that now the data type what is a null. So a null data type is, you don't want user to see something on your browser. You don't want them to see any output, all right, that is going on the server, or you render something inactive, dormant. You can set that person to what, to null, or you use your boolean to set the person to what, to set that particular data type to be what, to be false. So we have actually looked at get type. Now let's now enter the other one that I have there, which is called array. If I come in here and I said all this statement that I'm writing, if I come here and I said echo, okay, let's say I duplicate this, I'm going to get a big fat error. All right, let's say echo my array. The array I declared there is colors, right? So let's say I come here and I said colors. Let's say colors. I'm going to get a big fat error here. So the question now is, why am I having that kind of error? So let's say I refresh this. I see that everything's crash. Look at, always learn to read your error code. Number one, I have error in line what, 32, which I have, yes, that's what I did. Array to string conversion. So you can't print out an array with echo. Echo cannot handle words, cannot handle an array. Are you with me? Echo cannot handle an array. So what you can use to handle an array is either you use print arrow. You use print arrow. So use your print arrow statement, which is a built-in method. You pass in your array name inside there. All right. You pass your array name inside there. All right. Then if I store this and I refresh now, are you seeing that I have my array now? The first one is what? The first one is red, the other one is blue, while the last one is what, is green. And you can see that what print arrow does is that print arrow also print out the index, because array is actually arrayed in index. The first item inside an array is actually 0. It means that red is 0. Red is 0, blue is what, is blue is 1, then this other one is what, the last one is what, is true. That's what print arrow does. There's another way we normally print out our array. If you want to get more information about your array, you can use your var_dump. So var_dump is also used to print out what, an array. So if I come here and I said, okay, var_dump, I pass in what I want to print out here. I run it, I refresh. So you can see that there's a difference between var_dump and your print arrow. Let me comment this one now so that you'll be seeing what's going on there. So it is now a var_dump. All right. Now what var_dump is telling you now, you can see that you have more information about your array than print arrow. var_dump is telling me that red belongs to what, index of 0, right? And it is a string. Are you seeing it? It's a string. Then it's telling me that blue is also what, a string. Now let's assume that I purposely turn something here, something like integer. Let's say I pass in some 70 here. Sorry. I pass it something like 70 here, and I save it. I refresh. What are you seeing there now? It's telling me that the index of 1, which is what 70, is what is integer. So what var_dump does is that it give you more information on your array than your what, than your print what, than your print arrow.